that freeze coming into western Kansas, farmers in the Goodland area are concerned for their crops, especially after a 5-month drought.
Yeah, Sophia Jernander talked to some of those farmers today. Sophia, how are people in northwest Kansas now preparing for a freeze on top of that drought?
Mike, as I learned today from agronomists in northwest Kansas, there's not much that you can do. But between drought and freezing temperatures, farmers in western Kansas have figured out how to keep their crops alive in an often hostile climate. This is what wheat looks like in Goodland, cracked and dry. The farmer who sent me this video telling me he'll have to kill this plot you're seeing right now.
Drought conditions really have been persisting basically since the beginning of the year.
Jeannie Falk Jones is the agronomist for K-State's northwest area. She says while western Kansas usually experiences dry weather, the drought this year is worse than usual. While some wheat has survived, an incoming freeze puts it at risk.
The part that is a little concerning about this is that our wheat is about a month ahead in growth and development. So we actually have wheat that is heading. The snow is not as concerning as the fact that it's coming with pretty cold temperatures.
Why is wheat a month ahead of schedule? That's because in addition to the drought, the winter has also been unusually warm. There's snow coming in with the freeze, but agronomists say that's not as much of a concern.
We're going to be thankful for any type of moisture that we've had.
Between drought, warm winters, and a May freeze, how do you farm in these conditions? Jones says they've learned to adapt.
We use drought-tolerant crops. Out in pastures, we have drought-tolerant grass.
And she says while they're still worried about the freeze, wheat is pretty good at enduring tough weather.
We've got wheat that is just really hanging on and trying with very little rainfall.
Jones says there is a silver lining. Western Kansas farmers have just started planting corn, meaning that it's still underground and will likely benefit from the moisture.